Hi boys and girls, this is Miss Rudy. We're doing Egg Carton Math fun. So these are the supplies we have. We have an egg carton. I have an 18. You can have a 12 if you like, which I wrote the numbers on the inside of. And I numbered it from 1 to 18. If you have a 1 to 12, that's fine as well. And you can mix them up or put them in order, whatever way you want to put the numbers, and you can even change the numbers randomly if you want them to be higher numbers, or keep them low numbers if you want to work on the low numbers. I have marker, pen, pencil. I have paper. I also have my shakers I'm going to use inside of the carton. They're just Cocoa Puffs. You can use Cocoa Puffs, you can use rocks, you can use paper rolled up into a ball. They're just going to sit in there, and they're going to get shook around so that they can help you choose numbers. If you notice, my egg carton has holes in it. Not all egg cartons do, but this egg carton does. And since it does, I'm going to use a scrap piece of paper from my book, and I'm just going to place it in here, kind of put it as tight as I can so it doesn't interfere with the shaking as much. Okay, so try and stick in there as tight as best you can. If you want to, you can try and tape it down if you have tape. If you don't have to worry about taping. You can just push it in. And what we're going to do is we're going to work on place value, addition, subtraction, and multiplication using our egg carton. Just these supplies to be able to do all of those 4 concepts in math. So I'm going to start off with place value, and I'm going to show you how that works. I've already prepared a page in my book that has a chart, a simple chart that you can write, and it's a place value chart with the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and I added thousands just because we might shake up enough numbers to get to 1,000. And a number column. The number column will be the number that you shake. Okay? And we are going to practice doing this so that you guys can have fun doing it at home. So I'm going to take this egg carton, I'm going to shut it, and I don't want to make anybody dizzy, but I'm going to shake it a little bit to see what numbers they land on. So we have 1 Cocoa Puff went in 12, and 1 Cocoa Puff went into 17. So we're going to move over here to our paper, and on our paper we're going to write down, right in this spot right here, 17 and 12. If I'm going to write them down in the right spots, we have 7 in the 1 spot, 1 in the 10 spot. So I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to put my 7, my 1 in the 10, my 7 in the 1 spot, and my 1 in the 10 spot. Our next number is 12. So the same thing, I'm going to put the 2 in the 1 spot and the 1 in the 10 spot. If I wanted to make this number larger, I can combine number in the thousands and then go back and do the same thing. 2 would go in the 1 spot, 1 would go in the 10 spot, 7 would go in the 100 spot, and 1 would go in the 1,000 spot. You could do this all the way down the page. Keep shaking. Change those numbers up again. Shake them around a little bit. See what we get. Oh, they both landed in the 12 spot. So since we already used 12, we can try and use 12 and 12 together. And put 12 and 12 together. And then the same thing. You see how the numbers, the 2 is in the 1 spot, the 1 is in the 10 spot, the 2 is in the 100 spot, and the 1 is in the 1,000 spot. These are just ways to do the place value. The next thing that we're going to try is addition. So Miss Rudy set up a page for her addition. You don't have to write addition, but Miss Rudy wanted you to see this would be my addition practice. So for some addition practice, you can either leave the numbers that you have here and try those out. 3 plus 1 equals, you can do 1, 2, 3 if you need images, and 1, count them up, and you can have 4. That's a horizontal layout. You can do 3 plus 1 in a vertical layout. Same thing. If you need to see some imagery, you can put the dots there and put your 4. You can cover this back up again. It's just a fun way to come up with numbers without just doing, oh, we got 18 and 18. So we would do 18 and 18. Now, 18 and 18, does that help you be able to do dots? 18 and 18 is going to be kind of hard to do dots. So you're going to be trying to remember your doubles. Remember our doubles when we talked about how doubles work. 2 plus 2 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6. What is our 8 and our 8? What does 8 and 8 make? And it might be hard to do it on the horizontal. If you're having difficulty doing it on the horizontal, it's easier to look at bigger numbers on a vertical. So 8 plus 8. We're going to start with the highest number. Remember, if we're counting and we're adding, we want to count up. So we start at 8, not at 1. We start at 8 and we add 8 more to it. If we can't think of it in our heads, off the top of our heads, 8 plus 8 would be 16. But if you can't think of that right off the top of your head, you can start at 8 and add 8 more to it. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You're going to put the 6 below the 1's column. This is the reason why it's very important for us to know our place value. 6 goes below the 1 column. We carry up, we regroup and we carry up the 1 up here. We can't put 16 all underneath. We have to make sure we carry that 1 up there. Now we add the 10's column. 1, 2, 3. 18 plus 18 is 36. It's easier to see this one on the vertical than it is to see it on the horizontal. You can do it on the horizontal, but it's a little harder to know your visuals. Okay, so that's our addition practice. When we move to our subtraction, we're going to shake it up again and get some different numbers. All right, so we got, oh, we have 18 and 5. So we have 18 and 5. All right, so 18 minus 5. All right, so if we're doing 18 minus 5, as we said already, it's kind of difficult to do it sometimes this way if you're not right off the bat understanding what the numbers are and you can't see them correctly. Sometimes it's easier to do them up and down because then you can see them in the proper place value. So if you're taking 5 from 8, if you want to, you can either count backwards or you can count forward. Remember, every addition and subtraction is the opposite of each other. So subtracting 5 from 18, whatever your answer is down here, adds to 5 and gets to 18. So think about it in terms of that. Taking and counting backwards from 8 and going back, taking 5 away. If you're counting forward, you're going to go 5, 6, 7, and then find out what your last one. Sometimes you need to use your fingers. We don't want to count on our fingers all the time, but we want to sometimes might need to use our fingers. So if you have 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, how many do we wind up having? We have 3 left over. So 3, 8 minus 5 is 3, because 5 plus 3 is 8. Now, do we have anything to take away here? 1 minus 0 is just 1. So 18 minus 5 is 13. We can shake it up again and get 2 different numbers. Try this one again. And we got 5 and 1. So we're going to put 5 minus 1. Now, if you really do need to use this method of putting 5 down, You have 5 here, and you take away 1. Then you know you have 4, okay? So if you need the visual in the smaller number, it's a little easier to be able to do that. Now, I don't have real large numbers over here, but I am going to show you a method of having to regroup. So if we have a number like 23 minus 18, I can't take 8 from 3. If I only have 3, I can't get 8 from 3. So I have to borrow from over here. So I have to regroup, and I have to borrow from the 2, which means I have to cross out the 2, make it a 1, and make this 3 now a 13. Now you can either put the 1 right here in front of it and make it a 13, or you can cross it out altogether and put the 13 on top. Now you can take, because 13 is a bigger number than 8, you can take 8 from 13. As we talked about above up here, you can actually count up from 8 if you have to. Or you can take and count backwards, whichever way you'd rather do it. So it's a technique thing depending on how you feel more comfortable. Miss Rudy likes to count forward. So I have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That means I have a 5 here. 5 plus 8 makes 13. 13 minus 8 makes 5. Now I have a 1 here. I crossed out this 2, so that's no longer here. 1 minus 1 is 0. You do not have to place value with a 0. The answer is just 5. So that's another subtraction. But since I don't have any big numbers like this inside of my carton, I wanted you to be able to see this technique. Now, the last thing that we're going to do is some multiplication. And multiplication is repeated addition. So if I start off with the numbers I already have in here, 5 times 1, 5 times 1, any number times 1 is itself. So 5 times 1 is 5, because one set of 5 is just 5, okay? So that's the simplest one. Okay, we're going to shake the head of multiplication and repeated addition is sometimes skip counting. So 5 times 3. 5 times 3, if you count by 5s, is 5, 10, 15, right? So you can count 5, 10, 15 by skip counting. You can also separate them out 5 sets of 3, which makes 15. There's a longer addition if we have to multiply in spaces. So I'm going to use the 5 again here, and I'm going to show you how to multiply double digits. So we multiply 5 to both the 8 and to the 1. So you have to multiply both ways. So 5 times 8, if we skip count with 5, and if it's 8 times, we get to 40. So 5 times 8 is 40. 40 we can't put all underneath the 1s, so we have to put the 0 underneath the 1 spot, and we have to bring the 4 over here and carry that up here. This 4 up here is not multiplied. This 4 up here is added to whatever's multiplied. So now 5 times 1, 5 times 1, anything times 1 is itself, so it's 5, plus 4, 5 and 4 is 9. So 18 times 5 is 90. So we have to make sure that we always remember when we're multiplying the lower number to the higher numbers, but to both of those. So you have to do 5 times 8 first. Whatever you get here, which is 40, you have to separate that 1s and 10s. The 0 goes in the 1 spot, and then the 4 moves up to the 10 spot. Whatever you carried over is added, not multiplied. But you have to multiply the 5 to the 1, which is 5, and then add the 4 to get 90. Larger problems that have double digits, you might have 2 and 4, and we'll try and make it a little simpler so we can see it. Multiply this way, you've got 22 24 times 22. You have to multiply this 2 up and down to the 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Then you have to multiply this 2 to that 2, which is 4. Do you notice how I keep that 8 underneath that one spot? And when I'm multiplying this way, I have to put the 4 underneath the 10 spot. Now, you have to multiply this 2 to that 4, and then this 2 to this 2. When I do this, hold this spot with a 0, because I don't need to fill underneath here. I need to fill underneath the 2 here. So 2 times 4 is 8 again, and 2 times 2 is 4 again. When you're talking about double digits, that this lower level, we have to add. Multiply up here, add down here. Now you have to add the 8 to nothing, which is 8, and you have to add the 4 and the 8 together. So you're counting up to get 12. You've got 2 down here, carry the 1. Now you have 4 plus 1 is 5. So 24 times 22 is 528. This is a long multiplication. So you have to be able to multiply both these numbers to both of these numbers and add them together to get the final answer of 528. I hope this was helpful, kids, and I hope you have a good week of working. And if there's any problems or any questions, please email me. Thank you. Have a great week.